Okay, I'll be honest, usually when I do these weird mods, I tend to give the Europeans a bad time. When I made one big global market, Europe basically entered a 100-year economic collapse as India and China were able to flood Europe with their cheaper goods and put the European industries out of business. When I made every province gold, Europe had by far the lowest population density and unemployment rate, meaning that everyone starved to death. But even more so in Europe as it has less unemployed people to feed everyone. I mean, okay, the billion Albanians in London didn't actually destroy Europe, mainly because they couldn't leave the UK, but they did completely and utterly nation-ruin Britain. So today I want to do something that's going to be good, or at least neutral, I hope, for the Europeans, and well, it has a very good chance of screwing over everyone else instead, for once. As such, why don't we make everyone Catholic? But we're going to keep state religions the same, meaning that every country can quote-unquote choose, attempt reconversion to the state religion, or embrace the Catholic way. And as for the Europeans, well, they should be practically unaffected. Well, as always, a like would be appreciated and a subscription would be amazing, and with that, let's get into the game. So yeah, here we are, 1st of April 1337. Not much has changed among the looks of it, right? And indeed, if we go ahead and sort by the religions of the countries, that all looks fine. No state religions have been changed or, I guess, harmed in the process of making the setup. However, if we look by the religions by location, everyone, and I do mean everyone, is Catholic. On the 1st of April 1337, they've all just decided, you know what? It's time to embrace Jesus. And one of the main reasons I thought it would be so funny to make everyone Catholic is, of course, I do think the Europeans are going to be exploring, and I just love the idea of, in my head anyway, a bunch of Spanish people arriving in like America and going, "Hey guys, have you heard about Jesus?" And then a bunch of people going, "Well, not really." But then in 1337, we just heard about him and went, "You know what? He's kind of got a point," and immediately converted. And then they'll like move around, they'll arrive into Africa and go, "Hey, have you guys heard about Jesus?" And they go, "Yep." In 1337, we all just became Catholic. Everyone else in the world as well. Just wherever the Europeans will show up, they'll just hear this one date, 1337, where everyone just became Catholic. They're just like, yep, we know of the Jesus fella, 1337. We all just embraced him unconditionally. That being said, technically, I guess the embracement must have happened before 1337 April. And why do I mention this? Well, I think this is part of the reason as well, if you have seen the Albania video. I actually think that the game does a month tick or something similar to that regard. Because while I did delete every single non-Catholic person, because I kept some, shall we say, non-Catholic states, a couple people in some weird spots have actually converted back to these state religions. So, for example, if you take a look in Bulgaria, you'll find there are some Orthodox chaps just out and about. Around 26,000 have converted back to Orthodoxy within the first months. This is also evident in places like the Golden Horde, where really specific locations actually have quite a bit of Sunni conversions already. And even in the Great Yuan, I mean, they have quite a few people that converted back to Tibetan Buddhism, which I don't think actually is the. I don't want to say state religion because it is the state religion of Great Yuan, but I don't think it's like the main religion of China at this point. However, it is the one state religion that a bunch of them just immediately converted to. So make of that what you will. Just 1.2 million people went, you know what? This Jesus fella, he's kind of got a point, but we're going to go back to Tibetan Buddhism. So that's already quite tragic, I guess. And same for Japan. Already quite a few people. Well, I say quite a few. I think they're quite geographically spread out. But 39,000 people went, you know what? We're going back to Shinto. Screw this. And yeah, you kind of just get a couple of these spots, just pretty much all over the shop. And I think that's just a prelude to come of all of these religious conversions. Although I've just realized something. They're allowed to do slavery because they're Sunni. Wait a minute, did I just accidentally abolish slavery? Oh, no, never mind. Okay, if you're worried about that, no, the slaves are still here. I'm not sure if they'll keep the slaves, but yeah, for now, I think, oh, because state religions haven't changed. Yeah, there are still slaves all out and about. And I guess because state religions tend to not be Catholic, they are allowed to keep the slaves for now. But bear in mind, in the case of, for example, the Sultanate of Delhi, if they flip Catholic, they're going to have to set all these slaves free. And I think that's the other thing to mention. See, countries like the Great Yuan are going to be quite hurt by this. Their religious unity is really, really bad by now. So I guess it's not that bad for them, all things considered. I thought it would be worse, but, they are going to have issues from that. Especially because they're not that tolerant of the Catholics. Yeah, so they're going to be a lot of unhappy people inside of China and most other places. But the thing to bear in mind is that, again, this is mainly changes that affect people outside of Europe or people that state religion is not Catholic. So, like, yeah, Byzantium is in trouble. Sure, Byzantium has issues, but everyone else in Europe, I mean, it's basically not noticed changes. Like, what? If you're in Sweden, oh, there's been like 100 Norse chaps that are no longer like wrong religion. Oh, you've finally got rid of. Actually, the Hussites haven't even spawned for them to get rid of. I mean, if you're in somewhere like France, the only real difference that you have is, well, I guess the Jews are gone, so that's something. But like most of the Europeans are going to be practically unaffected. The other thing to bear in mind, and this is one of the other reasons I think Catholicism is going to be interesting, is the Protestant Reformation is going to kick off. And that's going to be a fascinating reformation. The other thing to bear in mind, of course, is that the Pope, well, he makes tithe income, doesn't he? And while there's not more countries at the moment, because no one's like flipped into Catholic, although as they will hopefully, at least some of them start flipping, we're going to see the Pope become even more filthy rich because he's going to have even more tithe income. Because, say, for example, China just flips Catholic, this is going to like double tithe payments overnight, if not even more. So that should be interesting to see. At least I hope so. But yeah, that's the state of the world, as it were, in 1337. I'm gonna give the game, what, 3 years just to see what happens, some initial stuff, let the country sort out what's going on, let them make their decisions, and I'll come back to you in, let's say, 1340, unless something else interesting happens, and, well, take a look at the world. Oh, on the 2nd of October, 1337, we had the first person that have officially changed their religion to Catholic. Give it up for the Principality of Rostov, who, well, the guy is still Orthodox, sure, but the Principality itself has formally adopted Catholicism as the state religion. So there we go, that is our first state convert over to the one true faith, as it were. No, I did check everyone else. I don't know why Rostov is the first person to convert. Anyone, I guess, say hi if you're from Rostov. Yeah, I don't know why Rostov, of all places. Why Rostov is the one that became the first of the Catholics, but make of them what you will, and there we go. Well, as promised, I'll see you in 1340, I hope. Alright, it's 1340, and immediately Byzantium has not only managed to already lose the war to the Ottomans within 3 years, but is currently getting sieged down by the Bulgarians and the Serbians. They are quite literally at the gates of Constantinople already. That's honestly Byzantium impressive. Like, we unpaused. You've had 3 years. How? I guess this was the final domino that would collapse the Byzantine Empire. It's incredible. I guess they were quite fragile, all things considered. Now, a couple people have started converting, especially chaps like Trebizond over here, and the Russians. The Russians have really embraced. Turns out Rostov was just the start. A lot of Russians have really embraced Catholicism now, so make of that what you will. I don't think they were that attached to Orthodoxy, turns out, but also quite a few people in the Caucasus over here. Georgia, not quite, but we already have a couple of Catholic states, as it were, over here as well. That being said, there's also more resistance here. These smaller states have a lot of capitals, and they have the cabinets to start converting. So Islam is kind of making a comeback in the Middle East, make of that what you will. Oh, and out in Arabia. They heard about the Jesus guy and were like, yep, this is fine. We're going to go back to what we had before. We're pretty happy with that, all things considered. Not too much conversion happening in India or Asia as a whole, I guess. But I think because they have more tolerance relative to everyone else, or I guess just haven't gone around to it yet, they haven't changed religions yet, or I haven't seen anyone flip in terms of a state religion. But then again, it's only been 3 years. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think they survive this Catholic zealot uprising. So the Great Yuan, and I think a lot of other countries are going to be flipping once a lot of these zealots start popping up. Otherwise, no real conversions in Africa, although there are quite a few people actually going straight back to Sunni over here. Wow, they went back to Islam quite fast over in Madagascar, make of that what you will. And okay, quite a bit more conversions happening over here. So I guess a bit of a race against time. Can these chaps be forced into Catholicism before they just convert everyone else? The bigger countries are certainly more of a risk here. As for the natives, yeah, even the small ones are struggling to convert. I think they're kind of sticking with Catholicism over here in the New World. So yeah, very, very little conversion, all things considered. Like, there's a couple chaps over here that managed to, yeah, get like 11% converted and 11% here. So that's something, but that could have been the starting conversions as well, to be clear. I think there's just like one or two chaps over here. All right. So the one tribesman that was living over here, the one person that was in this province was like, you know what? I'm not a fan of this Jesus guy. I'm going back to my previous religion. I'm going back to Yopo. But yeah, checking out on the Pope, he's up to 90 ducats already in tithe payments, although that's not saying too much. Honestly, tithe fluctuates quite a bit depending on how the European countries are doing. Like, I've seen this up to around, I think, 120, 130 before. So this is, like, again, this isn't saying too much at the moment. Then again, not all of countries have also switched for this to be that impacted. Well, if you're a Byzantium fan, this is probably a good time for you to stop watching. You can go and pretend they made an excellent comeback here. Spoilers, they won't. But I'm going to let the game run, and I'll catch you if anything interesting happens. Alright, breaking news. While a lot of countries are relatively slow to adopt the new Catholic ways, there is one country at the forefront of adopting Jesus. That's right, China. They did not need much convincing. I think they just got one. Oh, no, sorry. This isn't China. It's a civil war. The country of Song Jian. He's a Wu Catholic man. Sounds like a bit of a certain historical uprising, but I think he's just going to win this. Yeah, I think he's just going to win this, because let's take a look. He's got 216k men. He's fighting a Yuan with 1,400. That's it. That's the one province of Yuan. Okay, a couple provinces of Yuan. Well, to be fair, I guess there's a lot of those subjects as well for him to deal with. But I have a feeling that this kind of Heavenly Kingdom uprising is probably going to go quite well for the Heavenly Kingdom, which means, well, they're going to start paying taxes to the Pope. Yep, there is a breakdown, as you can see. So, the Songjiang nobility, burghers, commoners, and clergy are already tithing quite well. 15% of all Catholic tithes is actually just the Chinese nobility, which is quite impressive, actually, all things considered. But yeah, the Pope has noticed that China, who he doesn't know exists, has just arrived and started giving him money. I guess it's a very good point. You don't need to see someone to be able to get tithe money from them. So yeah, impressive. I guess the real impressive thing is the fact that the Bohemian nobility are richer than the Songjiang commoners and clergy, which, I mean, I guess they did just revolt, so they probably haven't got good control or whatever, but we'll see, we'll see. Now, if you're wondering what the Pope is doing with his money, the answer is he's getting invaded by the Neapolitans. Kind of happens every time. I guess the Pope never had a real shortage of money from tithes anyway, and, I mean, yeah, he's getting a lot more tithes now, wonderful. Doesn't stop the Neapolitan armies from absolutely just destroying his country. Guys, great news about Sengoku Jidai. I don't think it's happening. Japan is gone. It's replaced by the county of Setsu. It's not even in a civil war. Every single Japanese peasant just rose up and have installed a county over here. So there we go. Japan is one state, very Catholically stating, but yeah, here it is. Primary religion Catholic. Oh wait, I've just realized. Latin is going to be the ultimate liturgical language forever now, isn't it? Until the Protestant Reformation kicks off, because yeah, I mean, Japan and China now both use liturgical language Latin. Yet no, they're gonna hold on to this forever. But yeah, no, I caught it. Let's give them a month tick. Let's take a look at this economy for Japan. Not great. It's not great, I'll give them that, but oh, that's a bit better. There we go. That's a bit better of an economy. Oh, they still have these courts. They still have all of their fun Japan mechanics. It's just they're all Catholic now. If you're wondering, China did get slightly distracted fighting all of those tributaries of the old Chinese state. So that's why they are taking a while to deal with all this. But don't worry, this revolt attack is still great power number one because yeah, of course it is. What a statement. A Chinese revolt attack is unironically great power number one. And you know what, I'll say it, the Indians are quite enthusiastic for Catholicism. Quite a few of them have just converted. But the Catholics are certainly not without resistance. There is certainly a re-emergence of Islam within the Middle East, Arabia, Iran, and North Africa. And also a bit of a North Saharan Africa. This bit, the Mali area, is also getting a bit of resurgence. And a little bit in Malaya. But yeah, it does seem to be a very bipolar world order now, with most of the other religions gone. It's just kind of Islam trying to claw something back out against the Catholics, while the Catholics are trying to consolidate these gains. Good progress in India. China, I think, is kind of a one bag, but they do need to hurry up and actually win it. They've been fighting this one for a while. I think the reality is that while they could just occupy a couple provinces here and call it a day, I don't think the AI realizes that. So they're busy fighting all the Khazar hordes and all the other fighting over here, and that's kind of a problem for them. For those wondering though, Tides is up to 177 already. Alright, it's the 1400s, and it's actually not the 1st of January, it's the 1st of February. Sengoku Jidai kicked off, but nothing happened, so I decided to give an extra month. And turns out there's no Sengoku Jidai. Everyone is just united in their Christianity, and there's no fighting over that. That also being said, China continues to be in their massive, super stable civil war. Turns out this civil war has been genius, because A, by not ending this civil war, they've avoided the Red Turban disaster. Because the Red Turban disaster is actually targeting not them. They are targeting Yuan, which technically exists because it's a civil war, so make of that what you will, but it's also kind of let them eat up a lot of their Chinese subjects and actually doing really well. So China's doing great. China's doing really, really well. This is disproportionately good for China, considering they've had a Black Death and everything as well. And yeah, Timmy's here. He is busy uniting most of what seems to be the Muslim world. See, the Sunnis have made a return in Anatolia. They made a return over in Persia and into, well, Arabia, I guess, for a good chunk of it. There's also some Muslim presences within Africa and Northern Africa, but otherwise, the Catholics have pretty much finished taking over. But no, Europe hasn't changed too much. I mean, England's losing the 100 Years' War. What's new? The Hussite Wars haven't kicked off, so that's something to bear in mind. And there are certainly some losers, like Morocco's just not doing too well. The Catholic civil war conflict stuff has not been kind to them, we'll put it this way. So yeah, they certainly have been some countries that have struggled. But overall, there's been a couple things that have actually kind of aligned for everyone outside of Europe. Because Europe, I'm keeping tabs on them, in terms of their tax bases, economic growth, and just general development, have been going pretty normal. They're mostly unchanged. I mean, the Pope is the one real example with this because the Pope is filthy rich, even more rich than he normally is. Like, the Pope is raking in a huge amount of money. But the thing we need to realize, though, is that because everyone is Catholic, liturgical language of Latin is just kind of locked in as the winner of this liturgical language conflict. It is just winning. There's no ifs about it, right? But what this actually means is that pretty much everyone in the world, even outside of the Pope, has access to the liturgical language of Latin, and everyone is Catholic. What does the Catholic part mean? That means they can't tax the clergy. Well, that means their text speed's a lot higher. Why? Because they're getting the max amount of text speed from liturgical language, being Latin, and you've guessed it, the clergy estate is happy, because the clergy estate can't be taxed. And because they can't be taxed, they're getting a bunch of text speed from that. Which means global research and global technological progress has been greatly accelerated by making everyone Catholic. As an average rule, sure, there are still some exceptions. Those that went back to Muslim, or I guess were never Catholic in the first place, are still going to be a bit behind. And it's not been like a universal freebie for everyone. Like, yeah, the natives are still going to be struggling because honestly, they haven't really flipped Catholic that much. So yeah, there's been a couple, but most of them have just kind of gone the tolerance route more than anything, or just haven't really converted and been in pain, to be fair. But as an average rule, technological progress outside of Europe, in most places like Africa that's gone Catholic, inside of India, certainly inside of China, a lot of these countries that I look through, those that have flipped Catholic have finished more text than they would in a I ran a separate save up to 1400s without this mod. Yeah, they've just done more text. They've had a lot more research speed. This has been great for global research. The other thing that is kind of interesting to talk about, especially in this save as well, not quite the migration map mode, but the save map mode. Because one of the things that this mod has kind of done is, yeah, there's still a bit of slavery, certainly in places like the Mamluks who didn't convert, and in India, but the Indian slavery is greatly decreased. Why? Well, they're Catholics. They can't enslave other Catholics. So make of them what you will. I've actually mostly ended up buffing countries outside of Europe. I've been comparing tax bases as well, and I don't think the Timurid hordes are a fair comparison because they've been doing quite well this game. But even places like China are just doing better. They have more advances, their economy is growing faster, and a lot of the other places as well that would have religious issues, they kind of don't anymore because they're 100%, I guess, Catholic. And yeah, average economy is just better off. I really thought this would be some kind of apocalypse, but outside of Europe, which is mostly unchanged, everyone else is just doing better anyway. I guess it's just a bad time to be Europe in a lemon cake video, because the one few times that you're not on fire, everyone else has been buffed apparently. Still though, I must confess, I did not expect having to turn around and go, yeah, the world's going really well actually, technology is progressing faster than expected and everyone is doing good. Yeah, I really did think this would be another post-apocalyptic save, I guess, but no, it has not been. Goddamn Bohemians, they just couldn't let a good thing stay a good thing. They had to go Hussite. Also, the kingdom of Songjiang has finally actually ended since Civil War. They've decided to immediately take this opportunity to invade Japan. It's not going well for them, but given there's been a total of 12 battles, can't even tell if they're necessarily fighting that much, honestly. I think they both don't really have a navy to do anything. And also, the Japan situation is, look, they're nominally in Sengoku Jidai, but like, someone should tell them they're in Sengoku Jidai. But yeah, the first cracks are starting to show. The Hussites are here, which means the Protestant Reformation will happen. To what scale? Guess we'll find out soon. Alright, here we are on the 2nd of January, 1500. Just gave it an extra day tick for it to process any over-the-century ticks, I guess. Nevertheless, apart from Georgia getting invaded by the... oh, that's the first rebellion against Georgia. Yeah, okay, so they are having some fun over in the Ilkhanate, which remarkably didn't collapse too much. I think the Timbers just kind of coexisted for the most part with that. But yeah, the world is certainly in one of the states of all time. Islam is the only religion that has kind of even made any kind of comeback against the Catholics, let's be clear. The Bohemian Hussitism got crushed, but the Sunnis do have a power base at least, mostly within northern Africa and little bits of Central Africa as well, and I guess the Kilwa-ish area. That being said, Arabia, Anatolia, and Persia are their main sources of strength, and they technically are in charge of Bengal, but I mean, they're not converting over there, so make that what you will. Otherwise, yeah, the hordes have for the most part fallen to the Catholics as well now, and the last remaining Orthodox state is the Grand Principality of Kiev. That's really doubled down on Orthodoxy, and I'm not sure they'll be able to survive this, but yeah, there we go. They are the last Orthodox state, surrounded by the Catholics, literally on all sides. So there we go. I don't know how much they will survive, but they're not doing badly. Um, Certainly getting away with it. I guess the collapse of the hordes has helped them as well. Luneburg is migrating into Denmark, as one does. Bohemia is blobbing, but they did get knocked out of their heresy. They're good Catholics yet again, so there we go. Nice. The Chinese civil wars have come to an end. They've made stupid amounts of money as well. Their economy is looking pretty good, all things considered, and their population's even recovering. I mean, they're just doing very well. It's a very strong China. And yeah, there's a couple like new chaps popping up. I think there's some religions certainly making a comeback over here, like some shamanism, but for the most part, the Catholics have managed to hold on to the vast majority of these states. I mean, Malaya is also in a bit of a weird state. There's a couple of Sunnis and even Hindus coming back, but most of the time is just the original religions. In this case, of course, the Hinduism, but just tolerating the Catholics. So I guess that's one option as well. No, India's doing really well. They're down to just 157,000 slaves in this small state over here. Even the Mamluks, honestly, are just starting to kind of run out of slaves. There is still like a lot of them in Africa, don't get me wrong, so there is still some slavery that exists, but even as colonies are starting to be established, slavery is just mainly gone from this world. I mean, there's literally a zero over here, okay? Zero slaves. They really wanted to get on the map. But for the most part, slavery's just been eradicated. These slavery numbers are really, really low, like all things considered. Only 15,000 in Mamluks, and they are still Sunnis, so make of that what you will. Yeah, even the Genoese slave markets sit empty as they fall into Provence, and the Ottomans have just 1,300 slaves, which, again, probably isn't still great for those 1,300 slaves, but considering the amount of slaves they normally have, this is pretty good. I've done another sweep checking for technologies, and yeah, the world is also more technologically advanced, and overall, they've just been richer and better off. I feel like there's less wars happening as well. It's a bit hard to judge that, but no, it's not really an apocalypse. I've just kind of made the world significantly better by making everyone Catholic. Like, yeah, some people did say no and went back to Sunni, sure, but for the most part, looking good. Although it is the 1500s, which means you know what's coming soon: the Protestant Reformation. Let's really hope, though, that it just doesn't, and some guy just nails some theses to a church door, and no one minds, and we just kind of all move on in this era of peace and prosperity. And yes, if you're wondering as well, this one province did, unfortunately, it is Greater Polish, but it did go Muslim. They became a subject of the Jared hordes. I'm not sure how. I don't want to ask how. I think Poland was in a weird war cordon, probably somehow, and they nicked the one province, two, and then forced religion on them. So I guess there's a little bit of resistance to the global Catholic state from the cities over here, but beyond that, honestly, this is probably the most religiously peaceful Europe I've seen. Full stop. Well, let's hope the Protestant Reformation doesn't put too much of a dampener in all of this. Anyway, let's jump forward to that Protestant Reformation. And by soon, I mean now. The Reformation's kicked off in Diaz. Fascinating. It is that looked like England for a second. It is not. It is still majority Catholic, just barely, but that's a lot of people that could potentially be, shall we say, susceptible. And this guy's secretive might be an idea. You're about to end a lot of peace and prosperity for people, potentially. Let's find out if you do. Guys, it's been 2 years. I don't think the Protestant Reformation's going away. I don't think it's going away. There's Protestant Reformation people in China already. Oh God, and in India. Yep. They've hit everywhere. Oh God. Okay. Yeah, they're in Africa as well. They're in the Congo, and wow. Even in here, the county of Rift Valley, by this one chap over here, do they really need a Protestant Reformation? Is that strictly speaking necessary? Guys, you can't even build a cathedral. You can't build much of anything. How are you building a Reformation Center? I'm gonna stop questioning that one. Alright, I mean, there's already 10 million Protestant chaps out and about, which is very impressive because it's gone on for what, 7 years? So, yeah, I mean, it's mainly a European thing at the moment, so make of that what you will. But there are certainly presences in India as well. It's a bit on the borders of China, although they seem to be containing it pretty well, to be honest. And yeah, there is a couple spots of Reformation in Africa, sure, but Damn, there's people in the Aztec Empire. They're like, you know what? We're not fans of the Pope. And it is true, the Pope is making a lot of money from tithes. Oh my God, the Pope is making a lot of money from tithes. God, that is quite an amount of money from tithes. Yeah, maybe all of this tithing was a bad idea, Mr. Pope. That being said, I still love the idea that people in the Aztecs are like, you know what? No, we don't want to give the Pope money. It's just, Mr. Pope, man, you could be printing more. Are you just that good on money you can't even be bothered? I mean, you always have 1 million. You're not even doing anything with the money. It's just sitting in a big pile, not even in Rome. You don't even own that anymore. You've just you've just built up everything through the roof, haven't you? Yeah. Hmm. I guess Pope do be like that sometimes, although to be honest, the Pope kind of does this anyway. But yeah, it is spreading through, well, most of Europe. I do wonder if they actually will hit outside of Europe, or it's still going to be mostly contained to it. Pope, the Protestant Reformation, it's spreading all across Europe and even across the rest of the world as well. Your subjects in India and China are starting to turn against you. What should you do, Pope? Treaty of Lisbon. That will solve it. Well, northern Germany seems to be starting to fall. A couple chaps over in Russia already changing their mind as well. And also one Irish person. Wait, their court language is German. They still speak Latin, but they've gone Protestant, and they're a dominion of England. What is this nation? It's a tribe, isn't it? Yeah. Oh God, it's a German-speaking Latin but Lutheran tribe in Ireland whose primary culture is English, but their population is 100% Irish and 70% Lutheran, and mostly composed of peasants. I Okay, I'm gonna stop asking questions. Okay, I'll be honest, outside of Europe, they've kind of been able to put a stop to the Reformation for the most part. I mean, Europe and I guess into Russia has really pushed for the Reformation, so they've been doing great there, but even here, they've kind of started to fight back quite a few times, so yeah, interesting. I really thought it'd be a lot more brutal than it is, but they seem to be keeping it under a relatively tight development. I mean, yeah, there are certainly countries flipping over, but nothing too substantial. I mean, okay, Novgorod as well is probably potentially going Protestant, but even then, it's if you take a look at that, it's only what 27% Lutheran. Might not even convert. Interesting. Like China will be fine. China is surprisingly a bit Christian, a bit Cathar, but 95% Catholic. Yeah, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. Congratulations to the Ashikaga Empire for winning Sengoku Jidai. Sengoku Jidai didn't already happen. They are, of course, an empire, but they are absolutely within all of this. Their ruler, as well as their, well, country, is Catholic. So, yes, Catholic Japan. Yeah, it's a fascinating religious backbone after all of this. Well, I'm going to let the Protestant Reformation get back to work and see if anything else interesting happens. And for those curious about the New World, yeah, there's a couple colonies, but the few Protestant Reformation spots over here have mostly been removed, so not much more to say there. Alright, the Counter-Reformation has kicked off. Congratulations on the Pope by recognizing we should probably do something about this. So congratulations, yet again, to Mr. Pope Man. Let's see. Martin Luther died 3 years ago. He did not live very long, although I don't know what he historically lived by, so I guess it's a bit hard for me to tell. Nevertheless, yeah, this looks like an absolute mess. Why is the red pro or anti-Counter-Reformation? I don't even know, to be honest. It's... Oh, God, what a mess. But that being said, like 26 million Lutherian sounds bad, but it's really spread out. Like, it is really spread out. It's still going, and I guess the second part of the Protestant Reformation hasn't kicked off yet, but I think the Catholics get away with it. They still have a very, very clear majority. Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. The Pope started a council in Trent, and then he looked at the Protestant Reformation, and he was like, you know what? That's only 30 million people. I actually don't care. He has not had a single debate. He just doesn't care about any of this. He's like, nope. I guess we'll hold a council, but like, I don't care. Not a me problem. It's only like what 30 million people, still less than 10% of the faithful. We'll be fine. And like, he's not wrong. It's really slowed down. I think they get away with it. I think this will be about the full extent of the Protestant Reformation. Like, yeah, there's some random spawns out here in India, sure, and some random spawns in China. They'll be fine. They're like, okay, you still love Jesus, so I guess that's fine. Okay, here's a philosophy question for you. Is it still a Sengoku Jidai if no one shows up to Sengoku the Jidai? Oh, also, I was checking out to see the status of slavery in the world. It's still pretty much non-existent. Like, Slavery is, for the most part, gone. However, I did find inside of this Brazilian state being established as a Portuguese colony, they have a population of 446,000, right? And within this population of 446,000, they've got a fair share of peasants, laborers, soldiers, burghers, clerics, even nobles. They have one slave. There is literally just one Sunni man, I assume, or woman, I won't know. There is just one slave in the entire colony of almost 500,000 people. There is just one slave. It must really suck to be them. Wow. But yeah, that's the icon is not accurate because there's two people in the icon, but there's actually only one slave, 0.0% of the population. That's incredible. Yeah, slavery for the most part is gone. There's 730 slaves in China. And okay, in Central Africa, there's still slavery going on, fair enough. But basically, outside of Central Africa, there's just no slavery anywhere. Kilwa has three. There's three slaves in all of Kilwa. That's it. There's just like the one odd random slave here and there, and that's about it. There's 44 slaves in Bulgaria total. Remarkably, 313 in are they still Rusinia? Oh yeah, they've actually formed Rusinia, to be fair. I was going to say if they've formed Rusinia Kiev yet. So fair enough, and a couple odd slaves here and there, but that's it. Like, this is probably the least slavery dense map I've seen, full stop. It's incredible. And yeah, the Protestant Reformation, I mean, it's hit 30 million and then kind of ran out of steam, to be honest. I think they managed the revolt in England, but they're not even winning that revolt in England as well. So I I'll be honest, this is just a relatively peaceful, prosperous world. It's such a surreal statement. I didn't think making everyone Catholic would be so good for global prosperity as previously mentioned. By the standards of my average EU5 campaign, this is a utopia. I mean, if anything, the continued prosperity and growth of the Catholic world is reflected by the tithe payments. They just keep going up. He's just making even more and more money from tithing. Like, look at this. Look at this breakdown as well. It's incredible. The Pope has literally 1,000,000 ducats in the bank already as well. Why are you taxing? Like, Pope, what's the point of taxing the poor at this point? Like, these 23 ducats have pretty negligible impacts on anything. I mean, you can't even be bothered to mint, right? You can't even bother to mint fully. Well, let's see what happens by the 1600s. Maybe some more bigger wars break out. Alright, it's the 1st of January, 1600s, and I'll be honest, the Catholics, they just keep winning. The Protestant Reformation is kind of slowing down, but certainly starting its decline. It did peak at around 32 million pops, now down to 30 million, and slowly but surely taking back down. And in fact, the very last Orthodox holdout, Ruthenia, has now also fallen to the Catholics. So that is it. The Christian world, at least between Orthodox and Catholics, is reunited. The Catholics have won, the Orthodox are basically gone, at least on a state religion level. Like, yes, technically the Duchy of Bessarabia is a Nagai Orthodox state, but yeah, I wouldn't count on them to achieve too much. But yeah, Protestantism is, on the whole, on the decline. England has gone Anglican, but not very well. They've actually gone Anglican a while ago, and they're just kind of a religious mess, and still majority Catholic. They are just a bit all over the shop. I don't think this will be any kind of stability anytime soon. North Germans are Protestant, but even then, something like Sweden, which looked like it should be a big Protestant power, well, they're still majority Catholic and struggling to convert, so I'll see if that sticks, but honestly, I'm not too convinced it will. If we take a look at the religions by country as well, yes, there's a bunch of North German Lutherans, but I think the issue is that the existence of India and China and half of Africa and even all the New World chaps have meant that basically a lot of the Protestant effort was just too diluted and they couldn't make any real progress. As a side effect, though, yeah, China has been in an unending era of prosperity brought upon by, well, their love of Catholicism. They have not had any kind of dynastic cycles and just been scaling their economy really well, frankly. So congratulations based on that. Same for Japan. They've basically entirely avoided Sengoku Jidai, scaled their economy really well, and become a power all in their own might. India has also just been doing very well as well. These are all very healthy economies with very healthy states, and yeah, good job for everyone there. They're ahead economically, they're ahead in prosperity and devastation, ahead on populations, and ahead technologically than what they should be as well. So this attempt at cursing the rest of the world to a constant state of civil war and societal collapse just didn't happen. I mean, again, as another side effect, outside of Sokoto, which is continuing to double down on slavery, having 265,000 slaves, so these guys are not doing well on slavery. Everyone else has basically abolished it. I mean, what? There's under 12,000 slaves in India? Okay, there's around 100k in the hordes. The hordes have started slaving again. That's bad. But there's literally 100 slaves in all of Egypt. That's it. And they're all in very weird spots as well. So, yeah. 6 in Bulgaria. Sure, the Ottomans have 11,000, but by Ottoman standards, that's really not a lot. And for those wondering about the one slave in Brazil, you'll be very pleased to know that there's now 2. There are now 2 slaves in Brazil, which is one of the statements of all time. Yeah. Slavery as an institution is practically destroyed by everyone becoming a Catholic, so make of them what you will. But yeah, no, that's not much more to say here. As bad as the borders look, it's pretty well consolidated, and frankly, not much is happening because a lot of wars aren't even that impactful now. They're just kind of sitting around economically scaling, build up their nations, and researching technologies. So yeah, no post-apocalypse from making everyone Catholic. In fact, was, I'm not going to lie, just a massive net positive for the world. But with that all said, that is all the time I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to Ark, Solus, Lemon, Lozendicane, Castan, Hatan, Star 72, the Awesome Rabbit, Best from Gamer, Grandma Flavia, Leberule, WH Soft, Anthony35, AC Napo, Conspiracy Pizza, Yukata, Darnay, Marby, Jack, Ryland, Stuart Allen, Andrew Black, Nebula, Zentronic, Twinit, Aquabird, and Yakaman.